Good evening, welcome back. It is Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. We have a few birthdays and a few events to talk about real quick. We'll go over those, excuse me, right now. I was looking through the list. Not really a lot happened on this date, but we'll pick out a few things here. 1992, in New Hampshire, Joe Nemechek won his second career race in a pretty stirring duel over Dale Earnhardt. I recommend you find that race on YouTube and go back and give it a watch. It's the 1992 Chevy Dealers of New England 250. It's a really, really good show. On this date in 2002 at Bristol, Jimmy Spencer wins what would be his final career Busch Series race. And of course, if Spencer wins, there's probably some excitement somewhere in that race. And in 2020, on this date, Takuma Sato wins the COVID-delayed Indy 500. So very interesting there. Of course, it was no fans in the stands that day. Kind of a unique perspective. We got 3 birthdays. Thought I had 4, but the 4th's actually in October, so hopefully we'll remember to cover that one then. Because thanks to Trading Card Database and having some misinformation. So anyway, born on this date in 1969, son of a Racing Hall of Famer. His father recently just had a birthday, but P.J. Jones. Here you see him in his Melling racing attire. He had a brief run in the Cup Series. Ran in the Truck Series. I believe it was Jimmy Smith's team that he drove for. Had a brief run in the Busch Series for David Ridley with the Yellow Transportation. And then there's a look at the number 1 truck that he ran. Let's see if it does give us a name. Actually, that says Mike Chase. But that was the truck that PJ did run, so I'm going to have to... So I'm going to have to put that in the Mike Chase one. So I'll have to figure out what went wrong there. But that was the truck that PJ Jones did drive in the Truck Series. So moving on... Born on this date, and excuse me, just did a lot of yard mowing today, so it's catching up with me now. Born on this date in 1967. He was pegged to be a Cup star, but injuries proved otherwise. But he had a decent run in a Busch Series and a decent run in a Cup Series. Like I said before, the injuries sidetracked him. But that would be Mr. Steve Park. Of course, he was a modified standout. Got the call from Dale Sr. to run the Busch car, the AC Delco car. Nope, no pictures of that one. Ran the one of the first DEI Cup cars, the Burger King paint job there. You'll see that here in a minute. Moved up to Cup to the 1 car. Ran that one for a few years. Got released, went to the AOL 30 car. Then he went to the Truck Series, which he drove the 62 truck for Brendan Gaughan. Won a race, I can't remember if it was Vegas, but it was a 1.5-mile track that he won on. There's that really cool Burger King paint scheme. It's one of probably the best Burger King paint schemes ever. And then a nice look at the number 1 Pennzoil Monte Carlo. Of course, he had that horrible wreck in 2001 at Darlington in the Busch race, driving the 31 Whelen Engineering car. And I think if that wreck wouldn't have happened, Steve Park would have been, in my opinion, he would have had 7 to 10 Cup wins. He would have been in that Kyle Petty to Sterling Marlin type of a career where he was going to be a consistent front runner, maybe get a couple top 10s and points. But as it was, fate said no. We're gonna change things. And our final birthday, born on this date in 1963. Recently seen him run in the SRX series, but he's had stints in Cup and Busch. And he currently runs in the several dirt series. Herman the German, Kenny Wallace. So here you see him with his Cox-treated lumber car that was owned by his brother, I believe. Moved up to Cup for a few races with Team 3 Racing. Of course, that was a failed experiment. Team 3 was going to have the Dirt Devil colors in the Busch Series, but he stayed in the Busch Series with Sabco. Then they moved up to Cup. And there you can kind of see a couple renditions of the car. We'll get to that here in a minute. Moved over to Philmar. Filbert Martacci's team, the TIC Financial team, in 94 95 in the Busch Series. Then in 94, he was a relief driver for Ernie Irvan, or a substitute driver after Ernie was hurt at Michigan. And this is the Red Dog Busch scheme that Kenny would run for Philmar. Moved up to Cup. They had the TIC colors and Square D. And then eventually he'd move to Andy Petrie Racing, taking Square D with him. Went to Bill Davis, had that Stacker 2. They did have some really good commercials, though, I will say that. Stacker 2. Moved back down to the Busch Series for a while. I can't remember whose team that was. Maybe it'll tell us if we look on the back. Will it tell us? No, I do remember that car, but I can't remember the owner right offhand. I can't remember if that was Rusty Wallace's team or not. And then I believe Rusty, Kenny, and Mike all ran that one Busch race, or at least Kenny and Mike did. The Wallace and Stephen Wallace, the Wallace family, whatever it was called there at Gateway. There was the original Dirt Devil Cup car, and as you can see, that red lettering didn't show up real good, so they switched it to black, or the white lettering. There's the TIC Cup car, and then we have the TIC, or the Square D Cup car, and that team was just really not competitive. We do have a Truck Series card that he ran in 95, and then there's his time spent with Robert Yates in the 28 car, again, when he was filling in for the injured Ernie Irvan. So hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. A lot of history covered. Didn't talk much about P.J. Jones. He didn't have a very, very long NASCAR career. I think he has one top 10 finish. And if I remember right, that would have been at Watkins Glen driving for A.J. Foyt's team. I think he got a top 5, actually. But P.J. was never ran a full schedule, always tried to run a full schedule, but sponsorship and other issues always seemed to have things go awry. But anyway, thanks again for watching. Make sure you come back tomorrow. Little spoiler for tomorrow. It's going to be our autograph pickups from SRX Eldora and the one autograph that I did get at the ARCA race at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.